Hi, I'm Marty Machashik of the National Sporting Goods Association, and thank you for joining us for part of our video series for our COVID-19 Reopening Resources Library. OC Sports has become one of the largest and most respected headwear suppliers in the U.S. since it was established in 1977. It services channels in the team, promotional products, hunting and fishing, and retail markets. I'm pleased to have Brad Reagan here with us today to share a little bit about his role at OC Sports.
Thanks for having us, Marty.
Brad, tell us just a little bit about yourself, your role at OC, and just to share that with everybody who's watching today.
Well, first of all, I'm really blessed to be in the team market. I really enjoy what I do. Love the people that I work with. But I actually celebrated 10 years at Outdoor Cap and OC Sports, our team division, a couple weeks ago. Started off on the Walmart team as a sales manager, being as Walmart's about a stone's throw that way, and looked over, really respected my predecessor, Joe Robertino, and he offered me a position on the team side, working in minor league retail with all 160 minor league clubs, which was incredibly fun and challenging. But I've been the national sales manager for almost a couple years now and just have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Great. Well, and 10-year anniversary, and obviously a pretty amazing time for that to occur. And, with that in mind, Brad, how has your business been affected by COVID-19? And is everyone working remotely, or how have you been able to operate close to how you guys usually do?
Well, everything's kind of been turned on its head. Obviously, it's, no one expected this. And when that Friday the 13th in March hit, it was just a gut check for everyone. The thing about us is we've been open for business ever since. We were kind of parked in the center of the country in Arkansas, and we've been able to have a lot of our essential personnel, especially customer service, our warehouse team, our embroidery team. We've been completely operational the entire time. But as far as from a sales standpoint, obviously team sports, I feel like team sports has been hit so hard. Everyone's been hit hard, but I think team sports and holistically has been hit incredibly hard. So it's definitely affected us. We have new office standards around here coming back to the office. This is the cleanest place in America, in my opinion. There's no limit to hand sanitizer, temperature checks when you come in, footholds on the doors to open doors. Outdoor Cap has done a really good job for preventative measures for the COVID-19 virus. But, I worked from home about the middle of March, and so did some other employees, the vast majority of employees who were able to, and back at work for the past 2 weeks. So it's good to get back. But, we've had to, especially things like canceling our sales meeting. We typically have our sales meeting with our, over 20 team reps across the country. We're actually having them in-house this year. So we're going to bring them in, have them here for 2 to 3 days, put some faces to the names. And, unfortunately, that just wasn't able to happen. So hopefully we'll be able to move that to next year. But absolutely, it's definitely caused a change of pace here at Outdoor Cap.
Yeah, and you mentioned the team side of things. How has COVID-19 affected sales and orders for, the high school, scene for you guys, and how are things compared to last spring?
Well, compared to last spring, it's night and day. We've looked at so many, different line graphs and charts where, the sales start to climb, especially, the start of the year, January, February, and March are really crucial to team sports, especially isolated to headwear, where headwear is a portion of the uniform for baseball. And baseball is our biggest sport. Spring is our biggest season. So if this virus would have happened 2 months later, I think we would have been okay for the year. As the first, 3 months are really, really important for us. Unfortunately, it took a dive, and it's just the uncertainty of it, and working with team dealers and when everyone's going to reopen has greatly affected sales. On the positive side of that is Outdoor Cap is really built for this. We have a 300,000 square foot warehouse across the street in Bentonville, Arkansas, one in California and one in Dallas, and it hasn't affected our lead times domestically. So, we have a 7-day turn on domestic caps. So we've been really preaching to our team dealers more of a, not too salesy, but more educationally of, we're stocked with MLB replicas that ship next day, which is very important for leagues. And we also have, 7-day capabilities for thousands of styles. So we're actually built really well for this. So when baseball does return, we're excited to get back to work.
So it does sound like you are, kind of really helping some of the retailers and dealers prepare as obviously we're seeing segments of the economy reopening and in some cases some return to sports as well. And are there some other ways too that the retailers and dealers can prepare for all of this?
Absolutely. I think it's a matter of just, working with what you have, what you're capable of, and doing research, things you might not have been doing before. I would say, speaking specifically to team dealers, a good thing for them to do right now is understanding all manufacturers' capabilities. Every manufacturer has their strengths and their weaknesses. So really trying to figure out what those are and how they can benefit them when it does return. So for our end, whenever sports does return, we're fast. We have very big quality standards, and from T-shirts to goalposts to scoreboards, anything across the team industry. Understanding what specific manufacturers' strengths and weaknesses are is really important. I'd say another thing too now is even if you don't have an order from a customer in hand, there's still work to be done leading into those orders. So if you have a high school or a league that typically does something like a stock A letter on a hat, or if the Fayetteville Bulldogs in our backyard, their logos are pretty standard, you can still start doing digitizing. You can still start doing mock-ups. There's plenty of work to be done before the orders come in. So there's some stuff that can be done before the order is received to make the process smoother, because when everything comes back, I think it's going to come back really fast. So everyone needs to be prepared, but there are plenty of steps to be taken before those. And then also leaning on expertise for people in the market. And I'll call out specifically our team reps. Our team reps and other multi-line reps across the country who have years of experience that can really guide these team dealers, specifically on the manufacturers that they represent. They are an asset that would be crucial for a team dealer right now.
Yeah. No, that's great. And obviously in the short term right now, cash flow is a primary concern for the continued operation of a lot of our members and also a lot of other people in the industry. And, how can OC Sports help, the retailer and dealer customers, during this cash flow crunch?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a balance for me. Team dealers aren't making money, and we don't have cash flow coming in. It's a trickle down effect for everyone, and everyone is struggling with that. But what we've done at the start is, our company was really based off customer service, helping our end users, helping our team dealers, and then also helping our internal employees as well. So I'd say the start point was extending some terms for team dealers who needed it, who extended from net 60 to net 90, things like that, and also relaxing some of our return policies. So giving dealers a little bit of a break until they started to kind of receive some orders for a potential late summer, spring season, or fall season. And also something to not overlook is when the COVID-19 really came and hit us, it affected China at the start, and we actually, work with Chinese factories to produce some overseas caps on a separate program. And when those orders were coming in, Marty, those factories were shut down. So we had to come up with plans for that as well. So we were actually making and producing domestic caps for free for team dealers to fill in for travel ball, high school practices, picture days. The last thing that we want is for kids to go to a picture day and not have a hat to wear. So we were actually producing thousands of hats for free, embroidering them across the street as placeholders for kids who had games that were going on, 2 or 3 months ago. So it was a really stressful time, but we made sure we wanted to support little leagues, we wanted to support travel ball, we wanted to support our team dealers, and then other ways we're doing it too is educating team dealers on ways that they can save some money and maybe make a little bit more margin. We have several price point performance caps and a lot of closeouts that they could substitute in and, make a little bit more margin, maybe stuff they weren't looking for before, trying to find budgets that are friendly for their customers, but also that they could make a little bit more money on during these hard times. So we're trying to hit them from all angles.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and especially to make sure that, like you said, the key thing is that the kids are, and there may be obviously with some of the reopening here too, some pretty quick turnaround situations I would imagine as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're all in it because of sports, how much we enjoy sports. From your perspective, what are some of the short-term and long-term effects you think COVID-19 may have on youth and high school sports?
I was guessing you were going to ask the crystal ball question sometime coming up. It's a really good question, and this is what we spend a lot of time on, just guessing what's going on. But it's been really cool, especially utilizing NSGA and all the resources that you guys provide. Some the analytics, some of the polls and stuff from people in the business has been really nice to read. But I think the panic and fear is not going to go away for a bit. The 50-50 perception of whenever baseball does come back, let's just say youth sports, baseball, I think there's going to be a big divide between the people that are itching to come back and play team sports, get outside, and foster those relationships with their teams, their coaches, get exercise. And some of the other part is just the fear of what this virus is and that it's a really serious thing. And what's the balance? And I mean, for me, myself, having, two younger children, it's a teeter-totter between, whether you think it's safe or whether you think it's, a time to start. So I think in the short term, that's going to be a really big, crucial part of figuring out, like, there's different opinions and, how they work together. I think it's just going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of fear and anxiety at the start, but I think over time, it's really going to dissipate. And for us in team sports, what that looks like, whether it's there's no spring, summer ball, whether it's late summer, whether everything rolls into fall ball, and then just closely monitoring the state mandates. All of that in the short term is going to be crucial. In the long term, I think we're going to be stronger from it. And I've said this several times internally here. We're going to have to be stronger for it. Like we're literally going to have to do things different. We're going to have to be stronger than we've ever been in order to keep this business going, and to get more and more kids, playing team sports. It's a combination of the kids that are being cooped up inside and the people who are just dying to get back. And I really feel positively, Marty, that all these kids that have been stuck at home, not going to school, have been enjoying outdoor activities, maybe more than they have before. Being isolated at their home, it's fun to play video games when it's on your own time, but when you're stuck at home and you have to, it's almost a rebellion to get outside. We've seen that. I was looking at some retail sales for some larger retailers like Walmart, and outdoor and all that kind of stuff, outdoor products, sporting goods. Those sales are through the roof for kids that are just wanting to get outside, and hopefully that energizes them when all this is over to join team sports. Maybe they threw around the baseball more than they did before with a neighborhood kid or friend, and now they want to play team sports next year and they didn't think of it before. So I think we're going to be better off in the long term, but what that long term is, I don't know. I really hope it's sooner rather than later, though.
No, that's definitely true. And as you mentioned, I think the uncertainty is what's really kind of nagging at everybody. And finally, what message would you, give to everyone in the industry just about the uncertainty and all the challenges that everyone's facing right now?
Yeah, I'd say in general and kind of outside of business too, it's just we're all suffering together. We are absolutely all suffering together. So I think it's just a matter of sticking together and finding mutual benefits. I help you, you help me, leaning on each other through this because we're all in team sports. When no one's playing, we're all affected. So I'd say it's just a matter of sticking together. I've read a lot of articles, just the premise of learning something new during this time, especially anyone who's watching this, who's at home, is still in quarantine. Learn something new, try something different. I think even like with what we're doing right now, Marty, these video calls that have become, they've become the normal so fast, but how we can use this technology to better ourselves going forward. And then the last part, I've tried really hard to just be optimistic, to find spots to just be pleasant and happy. It's a tough time, and there's always somebody struggling more than you're struggling. Like I feel really, really blessed that I still have a job. And there's so many people out there struggling, and I know sales are down for us, but there's so many other people who have it worse. And I really try to take advantage of the time when I was at home. We're back at the office now, but the time with my family when they were, my kids kind of creeping in the door while daddy's working, having lunch or breakfast with them. If you still have that time, relish in that time, because this is time you'll never get back. So I'd say outside of business, just take advantage of some of the things that you can, and then just find perspective, especially other people that are really suffering.
Well, Brad Reagan of OC Sports, some great perspective and great comments. We really appreciate it, and you taking the time today to share some perspective with us. Stay well. All the best to everyone at OC Sports as well. And again, thank you so much for sharing this with NSGA and with the industry.
You as well, Marty. I hope you and your family stay safe, and thank you all. Thank you so much for what NSGA provides. We use your resources daily, especially as it pertains to these updates for COVID-19. So thank you for all you guys do.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Marty. Have a good day.